My coffee mug slipped from my hand and shattered across the tile floor. I didn't even flinch. I just stood there, staring at my phone, trying to make sense of what I was looking at. A photo album was playing on autoplay, pictures from Claire's bridal shower. 34 people, I counted, all packed into the backyard that I helped remodel last summer. Same fence I painted, same patio I power washed. The decorations, pink and sage green, Claire's favorite colors since she was 15. The custom banner said, "Future Mrs. Caldwell," matching gift bags, folded napkins. Everyone looked thrilled, except me, because I wasn't in a single shot. I wasn't late, I wasn't busy, I wasn't invited. Quick note, before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? There was a picture of my dad's old college roommate holding a mimosa. My Aunt Lorraine was there too, parked in the same corner where we set up a ramp for her wheelchair. Hell, even my second cousin Lisa, who lives in Arkansas now, made the trip. But not me. No text, no invite, no mention. I sat down on the bar stool in my kitchen like the floor had tilted underneath me. My stomach felt hollow. I hadn't been forgotten. That would have been easier. This felt deliberate. I scrolled back through my messages. I had mailed Claire a handmade congratulations card in August. I offered to help with wedding signage, programs, centerpieces, whatever she needed. She had replied with a heart emoji and a "Thanks, Uncle Nate." Uncle Nate, apparently not anymore. I blinked hard, trying to snap myself out of it. But the last time I saw everyone suddenly hit me like a punch. Thanksgiving. My sister-in-law Marlene had been going on and on about Claire's promotion at the bank, calling her the shining star of the family. When I mentioned my design business was up 40% that quarter, she laughed. "Oh, Nate, that little side hustle? That's cute." I had smiled through gritted teeth, past the green beans, and told myself to let it go. Family, right? They say dumb things. But this wasn't dumb. This was something else. My phone buzzed again. More likes rolling in on the album post. Everyone was so happy to be there. Everyone but me. I stood up and stepped around the broken mug on the floor. Didn't even bother to sweep it up. I walked back to the counter, grabbed my phone, and hit Mom without thinking twice. She picked up after 4 rings. "What now?" That same tone she always used when I called during dinner, or asked her for something inconvenient. Half concerned, half annoyed. "Why wasn't I invited to Claire's shower?" There was a pause. I pictured her pacing in the kitchen, chewing her lip, glancing at the stove like this was some massive disruption. "Nathan, let's not make this about you. It is about me. I'm her uncle. You think I didn't notice everyone and their mailman got an invite, but I didn't?" She sighed like I'd just started up an old fight she thought was buried. "You always bring tension." We didn't want drama. I gripped the phone tighter. "What tension?" I offered to help with the wedding. I sent her a card. She needs support right now. Not criticism, not energy that makes things heavier. "You mean honesty?" My voice cracked, but I kept it low. "I'm not doing this again," she snapped. "Claire deserves her moment." That was it. I hung up before I said something that would burn whatever was left. But my hands, they were steady now. I scrolled, found Marlene's number, and hit call. 2 rings. She picked up cheerful. "Nate, hey, everything okay?" "No." "Why wasn't I invited to Claire's bridal shower?" She didn't even pause. We all agreed it was best this way. "We?" "Yes, your parents, me, Claire, everyone close to the planning. Look, Nate, it's not personal." "Not personal?" I said, laughing once. "Cutting someone out on purpose and pretending they don't exist isn't personal." Her voice dropped like she was talking to a child. "We just didn't want to risk a blow-up. You know how you get when things don't go your way? Excuse me? You hold on to stuff. You bring it up later. We didn't want tension." "Bullshit," I said, flat. "You've been telling people I'm unstable." She didn't argue. "You've been building this narrative," I went on. "I'm the guy who makes things difficult. So, when you freeze me out, it makes sense." "I didn't say unstable," she said carefully. "We just talked about patterns. You overreact sometimes, and with big events like this, we couldn't take that risk. So, that was it. Not a mistake, not a slip, a strategy." "You know what, Marlene?" I said. "Thanks for the clarity." "Nate," I hung up. I stood there in the center of my kitchen, phone still in my hand. For once I wasn't shaking. I wasn't second-guessing. I wasn't wondering if I'd imagined it all. They'd made me the villain on purpose. It wasn't a stray comment at dinner or a forgotten text. This was a full-blown narrative, and now that I knew, I wasn't going to let them keep control of it. I pulled open the drawer next to the sink, grabbed a notebook, and flipped to a clean page. Then I wrote their names, underlined them, and started writing down everything I knew. I was halfway through listing out the stuff they'd pulled over the years, passive digs, holiday exclusions, forgotten invites, when my phone buzzed again. It was a group message. No idea how I ended up in it. Maybe they added me by mistake. There it was. Marlene. Flowers confirmed for pickup on the 10th. White peonies and blush roses. Claire. Perfect. Mom. Good thing we didn't invite Nate. Less drama this way. Claire. Agreed. Can't risk another side hustle argument, lol Marlene. Exactly. This is about joy I didn't breathe. Just screenshot. Fast. 3 times. Saved it in 2 different folders. Emailed it to myself. Backed it up. 10 seconds later, the message was gone. Deleted. Whole thread vanished. Didn't matter. I had it. I opened my notebook and started listing everything I knew. The house still looked the same. Same porch swing, same hedges I helped trim growing up. But it felt different now. Smaller. Crooked. I walked straight through the front door. Mom was in the kitchen sorting mail. She looked up, caught the expression on my face, and froze. I want to know what the hell this is, I said, holding up my phone with the screenshot open. She didn't even flinch, just sighed like I'd dropped a plate on the floor. That wasn't meant for you. I figured that out, I snapped. You said it was good I wasn't invited. To avoid drama. What kind of mother says that? She took a step back, leaned on the counter like she needed support. This way, there's no scene. No scene? I was getting louder. You think I'm the threat? You think I'd show up and ruin things just by existing? She didn't answer. What have you been telling people about me? I asked. Why do they think I'm this unstable wreck? She stared at the tile. You're sensitive when Claire's praised. That hit harder than I expected. It wasn't just about the shower. It never was. They'd rewritten who I was and passed it around like gossip. I've never once asked to be center stage, I said. I just wanted to be treated like I belonged in the damn family. You do? No, I don't, and you don't even deny it. She didn't try to stop me when I turned to leave. Didn't ask me to stay. Didn't apologize. I walked out, shut the door behind me, and didn't look back. No wave, no goodbye. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a smear campaign, quiet, subtle, and brutal. And I wasn't going to let it keep spreading. I drove home without music, gripping the wheel until my knuckles turned white. My pulse stayed high all night. By morning, I still hadn't slept. The first email came at 9 a.m. Barton Media. Subject line. Moving in a different direction. The message was polite but cold. They didn't need my design services anymore. I called the marketing lead right away. Evan, what happened? We were finalizing the campaign last week. He hesitated. Look, Nate, you're talented. But some things came up. People are saying you're difficult to collaborate with. People? What people? He cleared his throat. This is uncomfortable. My racquetball partner's your uncle. He mentioned there's drama in the family. He didn't give details, but look, perception matters. I hung up before I started swearing. By noon, a second email landed. Another client gone. The owner of that company went to church with Marlene. No reason given except unforeseen circumstances. That night, I lay on my couch staring at the ceiling, my phone on my chest. Every ping made my chest tighten like a fist. By the 3rd day, messages started coming from relatives I barely remembered. Cousins, in-laws, names I had to look up in my phone. You're ruining Claire's wedding. Why would you boycott such a big moment for the family? This isn't about you, Nate. I answered one, then stopped. It was like yelling into a storm. On the 4th night, Grandma called. I hadn't spoken to her in months. Why are you boycotting the event? She asked, her voice trembling. Claire's so hurt. I don't understand you, Grandma, I said, sitting up, pinching the bridge of my nose. I wasn't invited. I didn't boycott anything. Silence then. That's not what your mother told me. She's lying, I said flatly. I have proof. Don't speak about your mother like that. I swallowed hard. Grandma, I'm telling you the truth. But she hung up first. I stared at the phone until the screen went black. My apartment felt too small, like the walls were inching closer. By the 5th day, sleep became impossible. 2 hours here, 30 minutes there, then waking up drenched in sweat. My head throbbed constantly. Every time my phone buzzed, my muscles jumped. My mind started filling in blanks, what they were saying, how they were spinning the story, whose ear they were whispering into next. I finally went to the hall closet and pulled out a black leather notebook. Old, still wrapped in plastic from a past project. I sat at the kitchen table, opened to the first page, and wrote the date. Then every name, every text, every call. Screenshots printed and taped in, notes on where rumors might have started, lines drawn between people like a crime board. If they were going to rewrite my life, I'd keep the original copy. By the 7th day, my handwriting had turned sharp, almost carved, but it gave me something to do with the anger, something solid to hold. When the phone buzzed again, I didn't flinch. I flipped to a clean page and picked up my pen. I didn't even hear her knock. Isa walked in with Thai takeout under one arm and a bottle of wine under the other. "You look like shit," she said, tossing her keys onto the counter. "Didn't know I invited you," I muttered. "You didn't." She popped open the wine, poured 2 glasses, and handed me one like it was a lifeline. We ate on the couch. I barely touched mine. She didn't push, just sat with me while I unraveled everything. The texts, the calls, the deleted thread, the lost clients, Grandma. She listened the way only Isa could. No interruptions, no pity. When I finally stopped talking, she said, "This is emotional abuse." I blinked at her. "They're painting you as unstable to justify leaving you out," she said flat. "They're baiting you to explode so they can say, 'See, this is why.'" I looked down at the pad of my thumb, rubbing raw against the wineglass stem. "You think I should show up anyway?" I asked. "Prove I'm not the problem?" "No, that's exactly what they want." She leaned forward, elbows on knees. "They want you to crash their perfect party. Prove their narrative. Give them a final chapter." I leaned back, ran both hands down my face. "So what? Just sit in my apartment and watch them win?" Isa stood up, grabbed the wine, and walked to the balcony. I followed. The city lights blinked in silence. We stood there, side by side. "Why not build something that's actually for you?" she said. I didn't respond, but something shifted in my chest. A few days later, she texted me from a photo shoot in Santa Barbara. Just 2 lines, "Come down, let's make your own thing." I stared at the message for a while, then typed 3 letters, "Yes." I packed that same night and drove down to Santa Barbara the next morning. Isa met me outside the villa, barefoot, waving a half-eaten croissant. "Welcome to the rebirth," she said, smiling like she meant it. Mateo, a local photographer she worked with, had offered his place for the shoot, but one look at the coastal view, the open-air patio, and the ocean-salted breeze, and I said, "No, this isn't just a shoot. We're doing something real here." That night, we started planning a full event. Not a pity party, not a counterattack, a celebration. I designed custom menus in bold, minimalist print, ivory cardstock with charcoal lettering. I made welcome cards for each guest with their names pressed in gold foil, hand-stitched program booklets, centerpieces built from driftwood and dried florals. Every detail, intentional. Everything I would have done for Claire's wedding if I'd been allowed to, but this time it was for people who actually saw me, people who didn't need to be convinced I had value. We kept it small, 20 guests, no pressure, just creativity and light and good wine. Isa handled food. Mateo offered live portraits during golden hour. When it was ready, I posted a teaser on Isa's business page, just a shot of the invitation suite laid out on a linen cloth, with one line, "Beauty happens when you stop asking for permission." Not even 24 hours later, my phone rang. Marlene. I let it ring twice before answering. "What?" "Claire's wedding date has been moved." Her voice was tight. "To when?" "To the same day as your little... whatever this is." I let that hang in the air. Then, "Wow. You're sabotaging her," she snapped. "You think this is cute? You're splitting the family. You're making people choose." I kept my voice steady. Change your date if you want. Mine stays. This is war, Nate. No, Marlene. This is freedom. She went quiet. For the first time ever, I didn't care if she called back. I hung up, walked out to the terrace where Mateo was stringing lights, and told him we were still on. I didn't shake. My breath stayed even. And for the first time in a long time, I felt whole. 3 days before the event, I heard the knock and knew. I opened the door to see my mom standing stiff with her arms folded and Marlene behind her, in heels too loud for my hallway. "Can we come in?" my mom asked. Not warm, just rehearsed. I stepped aside without saying anything. They walked past me like it was still their house. They sat down on the couch like this was some kind of intervention. I didn't offer water. I didn't sit. "We want to offer a compromise," Marlene said, smoothing her skirt like this was a damn board meeting. "You attend the wedding reception. Skip the ceremony. Cancel your event." I almost laughed. "You show up uninvited to my home, and your opening offer is for me to cancel my life?" "It's not about canceling," my mom cut in. "It's about unity. You doing this on the same day, it's divisive. People feel pulled. They're feeling pulled because you lied," I shot back. "And now that the truth's slipping, you want me to fold so you can keep control." "This doesn't have to be ugly," my mom said. I walked to the table, grabbed my portfolio binder, and tossed it on the coffee table hard enough for the spine to thump. They flinched. "This isn't revenge," I said, flipping it open. "Look at the work. The designs, the prep. These aren't scraps. This is months of planning, weeks of detail." Marlene leaned in like she was humoring me. Claire's wedding cost $95,000. 200 guests, coordinated catering, music, venue. I cut her off. "Good for Claire. Mine isn't about the cost. It's about who's in the room and why she rolled her eyes. This is a vanity project." "No," I said, calm as ever. "This is what it looks like when someone takes their story back." She opened her mouth, then closed it. I turned to my mom. "You taught me how to make place cards. You used to say design mattered, that intention mattered. But when Claire needed a spotlight, you erased me." She looked up at me. Her eyes weren't angry, just tired. She didn't argue this time. I let the silence sit. "You don't have to come," I said finally. "But I'm not changing the date. And I'm not shrinking," Marlene scoffed under her breath. "God, the ego." "No," I said, pointing at the binder. "That's purpose." I walked to the door, opened it wide. They didn't move right away, but eventually they stood. My mom looked back once, not in anger, not even regret, just defeat. The next morning, the texts started rolling in again, this time slower, more scattered. Some were the usual crap. "Why are you stirring things up? You could have just come to the wedding like a normal person. This is selfish, Nate." But others started to crack through the wall. Cousin Dave messaged me late that night. "Hey man, Claire gave 3 different reasons why you weren't coming. First she said you were traveling, then she said you weren't feeling well. Now she says you were never interested in attending. Just weird." I stared at that one for a while, typed and deleted 5 replies. Ended up sending, "She lied." Ask her why he didn't respond right away, but I knew I'd hit a nerve. Then 2 days before the event, Grandma called again. Her voice was quiet. "I want to know the truth this time." I won't interrupt. I sat at my desk, staring out the window at the villa courtyard, and told her everything, start to finish. The messages, the fake stories, the clients, the notebook, the confrontation. She didn't say a word while I spoke. Not once. When I finished, there was a pause. Then, "I didn't know." "I believe that," I said. "But now you do." She exhaled hard, like she'd been holding it in for months. "I'm sorry for not listening." That landed heavier than I expected. After the call, I went back to finalizing place settings and confirming RSVPs. ISA had just posted another behind-the-scenes teaser, flat lay shots of the menus and florals, a caption about building beauty in the face of noise. The photo got more traction than we expected. Comments, shares, a quiet little wave that didn't ask permission. The next day, I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. "Hi, this is Lydia from West Coast Weddings. We came across your design work through Isa's page and wanted to talk about featuring it in our fall issue. It's elegant, personal, really striking." Call me back. I stood in the hallway for a long minute after that, phone in hand, staring at nothing. Then I played it again, just to make sure it was real. I called her back an hour later and said yes, not out of spite, not to prove anything. Just because I didn't need anyone's permission anymore. Not my mom's, not Marlene's, not Claire's. This was my work, my name, my voice, and finally, it was being heard. Asa didn't waste time. A week after the magazine call, she was already setting up a design showcase outside Seattle. Converted greenhouse, high ceilings, glass walls, trees lit with hanging Edison bulbs. 30 creatives, she told me. Real ones, not influencers. You're the headliner? I didn't even know how to answer that. I just nodded and kept working. The night of the event, the space glowed. People walked around with wine in hand, snapping photos, taking notes. There were tables filled with hand-bound journals, original floral work, ceramic pieces with raw edges, honest work, bold work. People making things because they had to. My display was dead center, a full layout of the Santa Barbara event, the menus, the invites, the program booklets, photos of the driftwood table designs, the coastal palette, the lighting arrangements I'd built from scratch, my name printed clean at the top, Nate Harper Design Studio. At one point, someone clinked their glass and raised a toast. To writing your own damn story. I nearly cried, right there in the middle of everything. I kept it together, but when I stepped outside for air, my inbox was already buzzing. One message after another. People wanted consultations, collabs, events. By the end of the week, I'd booked 3 national accounts, 2 wedding brands, 1 lifestyle magazine. I didn't chase them. They came to me. Then came the letter. Cream-colored envelope, my name in heavy ink. Marlene, of course. Inside, Nate, I'm asking you, out of respect for the family, to withdraw from the magazine article. This attention is hurting people. No apology, no explanation. Just the same tone she always used when trying to put a leash back on. I didn't respond by text or phone. I slid the feature article into a manila envelope, sealed it, and mailed it to her. No return address, just a sticky note clipped to the front, not competing, just living. 2 months later, I opened the door to find Marlene and Claire standing outside my new apartment. Claire looked uncomfortable. Marlene looked pissed. Was this really necessary? Marlene asked before I could even say hi. I stepped aside. You came all this way. Might as well come in. They walked in slow, like they weren't sure what they expected. I stayed standing. No offer to sit. No offer for coffee, just space and air between us. Marlene got straight to it. The article embarrassed people. Grandma's asking questions. Your mom's not sleeping. I nodded once. That sounds like their problem. Claire didn't speak. She just looked around the room, taking it in. The plants, the wall of books, the framed article on the side table. I'm not angry, I said. I'm just done. Marlene folded her arms. So, all of this production was payback? I shook my head. It wasn't about you. It was about peace. About building something that felt like mine. You could have come to the wedding, she snapped. I wasn't invited. You made sure of that. Marlene let out a sharp breath, like she'd been slapped. We were trying to protect Claire. Claire finally looked up. Her eyes weren't cold this time, just tired, real. I didn't know it would go that far, she said quietly. I met her gaze. But you watched it happen. She didn't deny it. Marlene scoffed and grabbed her purse. This was a mistake. She stormed out, heels clacking hard on the hallway floor. Claire stayed a beat longer. It was beautiful, she said. The photos, the setup. I mean it, I nodded. It wasn't about revenge. It was about not disappearing. She didn't say anything else. Just turned and followed Marlene out the door. After they left, I stepped onto my balcony. The air was cool, the sun just starting to drop behind the city. Mateo came out from the kitchen, handed me a mug of coffee, no words needed. I took it, watered the plants in their clay pots, one by one, like I always did. And for the first time in a long time, I smiled. Not because everything was fixed, but because I was finally seen by the right people.